Hello, hello. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. I'm Sharon, and I'm today. I wanted to do something a little different and do a monthly reset video with you all. So I love watching monthly resets, monthly reviews, when someone just looks back at the previous month, evaluates what went well, what could have gone better, what could they do a little differently. And yeah, it's just a good way to pause and I think be more intentional with your day-to-day life, but yeah, have a bigger picture of what's going on for you. So if you're tuned in and you can hear me, say hello, let me know where you're tuning in from. Give me a thumbs up in the comment section to let me know that we're all good to go. So the way I'm gonna approach the reset is we're just gonna go section by section, thinking about the different areas of the life. So I think about things in terms of maybe finances, health, wellness, beauty. So thinking about being more proactive about my hair, my skin, and then just wellness and anything else we would want to think about as we go. I see a thumbs up from Grasa. Is that how you say your name? Grasa Mavita? Mwavita. Thank you so much. Lovely to have you here. Thumbs up from Cynthia. Perfect. So if you all have your notebooks, your iPads, whatever you have with you, we'll just go step by step. So starting off with thinking through May, I'm thinking about it in terms of what goals did I have? Did I accomplish them? What was the biggest success in this area? And one thing I would like to do differently to introduce or to experiment with. So I find sometimes, like with goal setting, people can be quite hard on themselves and there's this like constant need to be improving. When I like to think about introducing changes into my life as just experiments, just gamify your life, have fun, never take it too seriously, and I feel like that just helps to make it more of an enjoyable thing. Okay, so we are going to start off with finances. So starting off with just thinking about looking back at the month you've had, what was your main goal? So for me, one of the key things that I mentioned in my previous live stream that I did last week about finances as an international student in the UK was applying for the University Hardship Fund, which is a pool of funds that are available for hardship. If there's just a circumstance that you weren't anticipating that caused some sort of financial disruption, and yeah, to get some financial aid from the university. So I would say that was like one of my key financial goals, and I was able to do that before the end of last month. So I accomplished that, which is fantastic. I did the application, and the biggest success in that area is actually receiving the funding. Well, it's not come in yet, but I was able to get it. So hopefully that should help me to get through this coming month, and be able to figure out a lot of major financial things that need to be sorted out. So if you haven't checked out that live, I was very detailed about finances and expenses and all of that. So that was probably my major financial um, accomplishment in the month of May. Um, One thing I would say that I would like to do better when I think about going into the month ahead with regards to finances is just um, linked to what I talked about in the previous live stream. I mentioned how wealth or finances is not something even I am good at talking about with the people in my life, with not just my friends, but my loved ones, even with people who are extremely close to me, including Mishi. I don't know if Mishi is here, but we've just had interesting conversations about money, and I think I want to go into the new month being more proactive about having conversations about finances and really evaluating what my relationship with money is and how that plays a role in how I speak about it and how I I wishy and how I interact with other people in my life when talking about money, when thinking about money, because there've been moments in the last month or two that have been quite eye-opening about just financial insecurity and what that does in friendships, in relationships. And yeah, there's a lot to think about there. So I would naturally want to stop here and ask you if you can reflect. You don't have to share it with me, but if you're happy to, you can write it in the comments. What was your key financial goal in May, if you had any? Were you able to accomplish it? What was your biggest success? And then what would you like to do differently, introduce, or experiment with in June? So I'll probably type that out for you guys so that I can pin it. Goal, accomplishment, and then you can just use that template as we keep going. Goal, accomplishment to introduce for June. So feel free to type away. Because let's see. Okay, I've just put it in the comments for you guys. Okay, so that's the with regards to wealth. Thinking about the month ahead more tangibly for the month of June, I was reflecting on how I would like to share my budget, whether I would like to share numbers, figures, and all of that, because that's something I tend to see in other content that is created around resets. So I put together a percentage distribution of my budget for the coming month, and then I can share that with you guys. And it's just, I feel like when it comes to budgeting, you can have like general percentage allocations for, maybe what your goal is. But I feel like month by month, things come up. And so percentages are going to move. Maybe there are expenses that are the same every month, like rent, utilities, that type of thing. But like, see, for me, this coming month is not this coming month, it's already June. Happy June. But this month is graduation, and there are a lot of expenses linked to that. So my personal care expenses are gonna be a lot higher, and there's just a lot of things that are happening. So maybe I'll just share this and then we can talk through it together. So I like to use what's called a zero-based budget, which just means that when money comes in, every single penny is accounted for. Every single shilling has a home. So there's never any money that is just not doing something. Even if it's miscellaneous, it's a bit more specific. So generally, also when I have windfalls, I have a percentage distribution so that when money comes in, it has a home. And I found that that's been a very useful way for me to navigate my finances. So rent and utilities is coming at around 29% for me, which I'm not unhappy about. That's not too bad. So as I said, for personal care, there's a lot of expenses related to that this month. Um, Hair, makeup. I consider like my gym membership under personal care. What else? I'll be doing my nails. So a lot of like beauty related one-off expenses, because usually my personal care sits more at around 1 to 3% of my budget. So this is quite the leap. And then travel wise, so I separate travel and transport. So transport for me is everyday things like taking the bus or taking a cab every so often if I need to. So taking the bus, taking the train when I'm commuting to on the daily, and then travel is if I am going somewhere that's outside of my day to day. So whether I'm taking the train there or a plane there, whatever it is. So I like to separate those two because to me, those are two different things. I don't know if anyone else can relate to that. Do you tend to combine your transport? Like for you, is transport, does that include travel expenses? Because also I know some people think about transport in terms or travel as holidays, and that's a separate part of their budget. So I'm very curious how you separate that in your budgets yourselves. And then food wise will be at 10%. So food, I combine both my um, eating out and groceries. And then entertainment, I've given it a bigger chunk for the month. Again, just to celebrate the month and with friends and everything. So that's something I'm quite excited about. And then transport, I said, is just the day-to-day commutes. And then gifts, I've also ramped up quite a bit for the month because, yeah, it's a celebration for multiple people. And yeah, I think I want to be very intentional this month with honoring and appreciating my friends. So if my friends are watching, just act surprised if you get something from me. But yep, and then subscriptions. So subscriptions, what I tend to do with my subscriptions is I will take the annual cost and then divide it by 12 and then have sinking funds so that by the time the subscription comes around to being paid, then it just goes out. So I just calculate all the subscriptions for the year, divide, and then put them into like a sinking fund. So that's around 3%. And then mutual aid is sitting at 1%, and then miscellaneous is at 1%. So as I mentioned, like if there's a windfall or unexpected income from this month, then I will have a different zero-based budget for that as well. So that's me in terms of my finances this month. Let's see what Cynthia is saying. I combine transport, but I need to separate TBH. Well, it's entirely up to you. It just depends on how you view transport and travel. For me, I think, yeah, I like to think of them as two very separate things because more often than not, if I'm traveling, well, yeah, maybe not necessarily. It's not always for leisure, but yeah, I just consider them two separate expenses. Yeah, so that's finances. Um, I think that would be that section. So that was, I think, speedy. Next, we will go into health. So, in terms of health, again, we're thinking about the same things like what was the goal in May? What did you accomplish? What was your biggest success? And what would you want to introduce or experiment for June? So, for me, in the month of May, my main goal was to return to baseline. So, as I had mentioned in my other live stream, I am extremely burnt out. I still am, and my sleep is off, my appetite has been off. So, really, I need to get back to my baseline before I start thinking about going above and beyond in terms of um, thinking, I don't know, like eating more greens and going to the gym and doing more. I am just trying to eat and trying to sleep. So the bar is in is in is very low at the moment, just to try and get my body back to a better shape because it's I've had a lot going on and it's been very stressful and it's taken a toll on my physical health. So the focus has been on improving my sleep, eating again, and going outside, which is a lot easier now that the weather is so much better. So, yeah, in terms of whether I accomplished that goal, it we're getting there, but we're not quite there. So, I would say when I think about maybe my biggest success in the realm of health is But I am eating again, I am sleeping again, I am going outside, and I have a list of activities that ground me, that have been helpful, and I actually keep that list somewhere near for me to remember, okay, what can I do to center myself now? In some of the helpful activities this month has been connecting with music in any form, whether it's listening to it, whether it's singing, dancing, any form of just connection with music has been quite helpful. Creating has also been very grounding for me, just having a creative outlet where I'm outside of my head and just channeling my energy into something. And then brown noise. I don't know if any of you are watching, listen to white noise, brown noise. I found brown noise has been quite helpful for me to get some sleep at nighttime. So being aware of the things that are working, and then I'm just gonna keep using these things. Eye masks has been another thing. So I'm very sensitive to like the sunlight from outside. And now in the UK, basically the sun is setting at like 10 or 11 p.m. and rising at 5 a.m. And I'm finding that generally my body rises and like it wakes up with the sun and struggles to sleep as well. So I need to cover my eyes and, have blackout curtains and yeah. So doing more of that. And then the sunshine has been lovely for my health as well. So I would say those are the things that have been helping me this month. So maybe over to you if you want to share what goals you may have had in the month of May when it comes to your physical health. I feel like physical health and mental health are quite closely intertwined. So, and yeah, if you can think of one thing that you were able to accomplish when it comes to your health, and it could be as simple as every day you were able to drink at least 1 liter of water, or you ate a vegetable every day. Listen, I believe I'm a firm believer in like sustainable success. Nothing drastic, nothing dramatic. You want to think about your life as a marathon, not a sprint. So anything you can introduce and find a way to be consistent with, that's the goal that at the end of the day. So in terms of what I would want to do differently or experiment with this coming month, it's actually just to rest even more than I'm doing now, because I think I'm still a bit too active. But yeah, to rest more and then to do more mindful movement, more stretching. I feel like there's just a lot of tension that I'm carrying in my body. And obviously, there's a lot of tension, a lot of emotion, a lot of fatigue. But yeah, I feel like my body is calling me to stretch. So I'm going to do more mobility and focus on more yoga, mobility, stretch routines. That's the name of the game for me in the month of June. So yeah, feel free to type. Let me know anything to do with your health that you're thinking about, that you've been thinking about in May and you're carrying over into June. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask me as we keep going. Then my next pillar would probably be uh, let's talk about skin. So for me, when it comes to my skin, my goal in the month of May was very simple. It was just to return to being diligent with my skincare routine, which I can say I have accomplished. And so I'm really happy with that. And I think my biggest success in the month of May when it comes to my skincare routine is actually sharing my product reviews. So if you follow me on Instagram or on TikTok or even here, sorry guys, I don't know why my throat is fine. Apologies. But yeah, I talked about on my Instagram stories how I have this weird thing about not sharing reviews for products I didn't enjoy, which is wild because that's the point. Like a huge part of sharing reviews is also sharing what you do not like and not just talking about what you like. So I am back to sharing product reviews, and it also, by sharing the review, it gives me a moment to actually reflect on how I feel about the product, to almost look at it in a new lens again. So I'll continue sharing more skincare reviews on all the platforms wherever you can find me. Yeah, and then in terms of what I will be doing differently for the month of June or experimenting with, is I recently purchased a new retinoid. So I've talked about retinoids extensively, and I'll leave a link to my blog post about them in the description box for you to have a read afterwards. And so my skincare routine is generally cleanse, hydrate, moisturize, treat, or target, and then protect with sunscreen. So very simple. And my treat slash target step is a retinoid. That's kind of the only active I'm using at the moment. I hadn't been using an active for the last couple of months. So in the month of June, I will be trying out a retinoid. And yeah, hopefully I can share a review or an update in, generally with retinoids, maybe 8 to 12 weeks. So I'll be definitely sharing that with you. So I'll just be taking a look at what you've shared with me. So Mishi, goals: more walks, starting to run, plus eating one nutritious meal a day. The first and third are what I've been able to sustain. Yes, I love to see you continue with this journey. And obviously, in case anyone who's on or watching doesn't know, that's my beloved twin sister. So I am intimately involved in terms of, yeah, here to support you through it and excited for your journey as well. So thank you so much for sharing, Mishi. Yeah, next we go to hair care, because is it are we is it can we really not talk about hair? No, we can't. So for me, in terms of my hair routine, I would say in the month of June, sorry, in the month of May, I talked about in my Microlocks hair video, my Microlocks update video, that I have a lot more buildup. And so my goal was to move to washing my hair more frequently. So the aim was to wash my hair every 2 weeks, which is a goal I was able to accomplish, which is fantastic. So I'm going to keep that up and pay attention to the changes in my hair. I'm already seeing a difference just in terms of not really the buildup per se, but I can see how people who wash their hair more often might have introduced more products into their routine. So, yeah, it'll be an interesting experiment to keep going with bi-weekly washing. And then in terms of my biggest success, I'm really excited about the fact that I started my Microlock my Microlock styling series, which I've been sharing again here on the shorts, on Instagram, on TikTok as well. So I'm having fun with that. It's slow but steady, so it's really challenging me to also challenge my own beliefs around my lack of creativity, because I've always looked at the way I think about hair care as more academic and not really creative. But I think that I've had a limiting belief around that. Like, I can't do fun and creative hairstyles because I don't perceive myself as a creative person, which is a whole other story that's we don't have to get into here. But we are working on that limiting belief, one reel at a time, one post at a time, because I know that it's fundamentally not true. So, in terms of improving, what I would want to do in the month of June, that I would want to do differently or to experiment with, Um, I think I had addressed this in my microlocks video as well, but I had been really torn about the whole braiding and banding thing. So to braid and band, to not braid and band. When do you stop braiding and banding? And so I actually reached out to two lovely ladies who have been in the natural hair communities, like they are among the OGs since way back when I started in late 2015. One of them is Amina. So she has sister locks, stunning sister locks, and she's now going on 4 years with having them. And also Kylie Cheeks with a K. I DM'd both of them being like, guys, what are you doing with your hair? Help me. Because I feel like we can always help one another, especially when it comes to locks. It's so experimental, but anyone who's just gone ahead of you might know something that you don't know just by being a few months ahead of you in the journey, or a year or 2 years. So the advice I got was from Amina was just to consult my loctician about assessing the state of my hair, and she would tell me whether or not I can stop braiding and banding, which is very sound, very wise of her to share with me. And then Kylie Cheeks told me that with her sister locks, she stopped braiding and banding. What she does is she braids her hair after she's washed it, and that kind of has the same effect. So I made a note of what they've shared with me. I'll put that together and reflect on how I can take on what they've shared and carry it forward when I think about my own locks and my own journey as well. So, yeah, really appreciating, really grateful for them. And yeah, just honestly, just grateful for the community around hair, like especially the hair space in Kenya from way back when. I feel like, yeah, it was a time. Um, I think with regards to this, my question to you, if you just think about it, because I was reflecting, like, do you readily consult people on things, like people who've gone ahead of you in the journey, even if they are 2 weeks ahead of you, 2 months ahead of you? Is that something that you do? Yeah. So let's take a look at what Cynthia's saying. My hair density is more or less the same as yours. So seeing your microlocks journey is encouraging, as I want to start the same. Well, I'm glad. I'm glad. And the fact that I'm just ahead of you, I will just share what I can see in the distance. And then when you come, you might discover something totally different, and you can teach me something that I didn't know. And that's the beauty of community. So I'm glad that I can do that for you. Um, yeah, so I think we're all done with hair care. If you're enjoying this, make sure to give it a thumbs up. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe for future resets as well. So we've talked about hair, we've talked about skin, we've talked about finances and health. We're almost done, guys. Next would be MKP, so My Kenyan Puff. I think I'm trying to also be proactive with creating plans and goals and reflection around creating and everything that I have in my heart for this platform, this community, and the space that I have on the internet. So when I think about the month of May, my goal, like with other things, has just been come back, show up. It's okay. Return. May was a month of return, returning to self, returning to self. Yeah, yeah. Coming home to myself, I feel was the theme of the month of May. And I would say I accomplished that. I came back to social media. Biggest success is in terms of creating has just been creating without being in my head, without overthinking and getting in my own way. And so it's been a very freeing experience, and I hope that it's been valuable for you. It's been entertaining, informative. I just hope that, the we're learning and growing together, which is always what the goal is. In terms of what I would want to do for the month ahead, I think I am keen to have like content output goals. So in terms of how many this I would like to do, how many this I would like to do. So I think when I was thinking about the numbers, I started experiencing some fear around saying out loud that, oh, I'm gonna show up this amount of times. And then, being worried that because now I have a bit more time on my hands, I can show up a bit more. And then work is gonna be hectic and then I might not. And I think that's something I've also like struggled with over the years. But I realized that I was in a prison of my own choosing because my struggle with content creation has been partly because I denied my humanity and kept the fact that, well, no, I have no issues with the fact that I kept being a medical student a private thing, but I think I used that almost as a way to invalidate that as a valid reason why I don't have the energy or the brain space or just the ability to show up online. I just I was it was hard. Med school was hard. And it's funny that it's only in the last few months that I've truly started acknowledging that. And yeah, it's the pink elephant in the room that I'd look at and I'm like, yeah, that's a thing, but it's not an excuse because I really wanted so badly for it to not be as all consuming as it was bound to be. So it is what it is, we're almost done. But yeah, it's definitely had an impact on life. Yeah, it is what it is. But yeah, how did we get here? We were talking about content creation. Yes. So rewriting that narrative in my head for the month of June looks like me acknowledging the fact that I am here now and I can focus on being here and structure my schedule to the best of my ability to show up as consistently, but also as sustainably as I can. So, in terms of the objectives for the month of June, that would look like at least one YouTube live stream, which I really enjoy because I really like speaking to you all and hearing back from you. So one of those, one YouTube video that's not live. And then when it comes to Instagram, to other platforms, I'm quite keen to not post for the sake of posting and post when I have something to share. And so we have the styling series going on, we have the skincare reviews. I have so much I want to share with you guys. So we'll just I will keep sharing organically, but I would say with a minimum. My goal is for Instagram posts, so maybe one a week. I think that's good enough. Yeah, and just continue to create. Um, so yeah, you might not all have social media goals, but if you have goals, maybe I think this would be for you the category in terms of career or business or hobbies. You can consider this whatever you would like. So I'm just seeing Michelle M has joined. Hi all, guess I'll have to watch the replay. I'm late. That's fine. You can continue with us where we are now. And then you can go back and watch the rest later. I'll have timestamps for everything so you can skip between sections at your convenience. But yeah, better late than never, and I'm happy to have you here. So we're coming to the last section, which is books. I think books for me are a part of wellness. They're a part of me gaining some education around the subjects that I am curious about, that I talk about, that I and also just it's a restful hobby for me, with me reading more fiction than nonfiction. So I wanted to share a bit about books as well. So my goal for generally, I think for most months, I keep it at, if I can read one book a month, that would be good. So that was my goal in the month of May, was to finish a book. I had started so many books earlier in the year, but I couldn't finish them. So I did accomplish that. I was able to finish 3 books and I enjoyed all of them. I think I have my story graph open. I do share like small reviews on my other platforms. So I read, I think, The Ocean at the End of the Lane, which was a fantasy, The Black Flamingo, which was kind of like a poetry style book, and Mikali and the Forbidden Ghost, the Forbidden Mask. Gosh, let me not butcher people's. Mikali and the Forbidden Mask. So those are the 3 books that I read in May, and I really enjoyed all of them for different reasons. So had a wonderful time. And then, yeah, that would be my biggest success. I think I've just maybe had not a stroke of luck. By the time I'm reading a book, I'm quite confident that I'm going to enjoy it because the person who's recommended it, or I don't know, by the time I'm reading a description, it's very rare that I read a book and I'm disappointed by it. So I'm happy that I enjoyed all the books I read this month. In terms of what I would like to improve / do differently or experiment with for this coming month, I would say nothing. I just want to keep reading. Again, I want it to be a restful, not too in my head about it, like, oh, you must read this book and read that book. I like to just pick up what I like to pick up. But I did start reading this book. It's called It's Not That Radical by Michaela Loach, Climate Action to Transform Our World. So I'm really trying to be intentional about learning more about sustainability, about climate justice, about what I can do. And personally, if I want to learn about a subject, I'm probably going to read a book first or pay for a course or a class. I just find that easier for me. I take knowledge in easier that way, like just watching a class, taking a course, or reading a book, because it'll just give me at least a solid foundation, and then I can watch the YouTube videos or listen to the podcast and all of the things. I'm curious how you guys learn. Do you learn I don't know if that makes sense. But will you first listen to a podcast? Will you first watch a YouTube video? Will you first read a book? Yeah, but everyone's different. So for me, I wanted to start there and then know how to take action from there, because I've heard that this book it was recommended to me by a friend, and it's supposed to be very practical. There's an immediate, by the end of it, there's a call to action. So I also want by the end of the book, I can do something about the information that I gathered. But also it's supposed to have a very like non-judgmental tone, very approachable, not too technical or kind of talking down to you. She's supposed to have a very like approachable tone to her. So I'm looking forward to that. This is the goal. Like if I read this book this month, I'll be very happy, because I want to make sure that when I do think about sustainability and talk about it online as well, it's coming from at least a bit more informed than I am right now. Yeah, so if you are a reader, enjoy reading, do you have any reflections, goals for the month ahead? Let me know. So I see Mishi said, reading is always my default. This is in terms of how you learn? Yeah, samesies. It's almost like we're twins. What a concept. Okay. So that's my monthly reset. That's the foundation. Of course, we can adjust. Are there other sections that you would like us to add and chat through for the coming month? I look forward to reviewing the month of June with you and planning July. So I'm gonna leave it here for now. I just want to thank you for being here with me. And for those of you who are watching back, always remember that your hair is your crown and your body is a temple. Embrace it, love it. Wait, before you love it and take care of it, I see Michelle M has a comment and I don't want to leave her hanging. So I read books voraciously. However, I don't lean to nonfiction. I'll read online articles for knowledge. That is so fair. So my ratio for nonfiction, fiction to nonfiction is at the moment probably like 60-40 or 80-20. But yeah, I'll pick up a nonfiction if I just wanna get a concept quickly. But yeah, team fiction. I love a good fiction read as well. So online articles for knowledge. I get that. Thank you so much for sharing, Michelle, and for engaging. So yeah, that is me. I will say the tagline again. Always remember, your hair is your crown, your body is a temple. Embrace it, love it, and take care of it as you go into the new month. I pray you have a wonderful, wonderful month ahead, a wonderful week ahead, and I will see you on the next one. Bye.